안녕하세요, Cloud입니다. Hey guys, Cloud here. Welcome to one of the lessons that I was least excited for back when I was learning it. The reason for that was because I felt like it was being introduced too early and that it was just too complicated. I felt like I didn't know the necessary grammar or vocab to really use it at all. But after I learned this lesson, I realized that it's not as complicated as I thought. This lesson specifically, it's not too complicated, but don't worry, it gets more complicated later. My goal for this lesson is to get you to realize that the passive voice has a time and a place, and when that time or place occurs, it's very natural to use it. And if you can't use it, it'll feel awkward that you can't. So you'll see what I mean. Alright, let's get into it. This lesson is divided into 4 parts. I'm going to be combining the last 2 parts of this lesson and discussing them first, so just in case you're following along. Alright, let's talk about nadan and neda. Neda is the active form, meaning to make something to occur, while nada is the passive form, meaning for something to occur. Nada and neda are often found in words, and they're often confused, since they look like each other. Let's look at a situation where both are used. Alright, situation 1. Let's say you've been playing video games all day, and your mom comes into your room and says, go do your homework. You, being the A+ student that you are, obviously, you would say, 저는 숙제를 끝냈어요. Since you already did it, you're the one who did it. It didn't happen. It's active. Now let's look at another situation. The year's 2020. Schools are held online. Again, your mom comes into your room and finds you playing video games. She looks at you and says, are you playing video games during class? You respond, 수업이 끝났어요. Class finished. Here, you're not the one that did the finishing. Class finished. The passive voice. See? Alright. Another example. My sister was coming over to have dinner at my place, and she rang the doorbell. I responded with, it's open. When I first learned Korean, I would have been inclined to say something like, 문을 열어, but that actually translates to open the door, which is what she was saying. Can you please open the door? What I should have said was, 문이 열려 있어. The door is open, in the passive form. No one's doing the opening here. The door is open. It just is. All right, hopefully that made some sense. There's a ton of examples on the vocab section of this lesson. So if you go to the vocab list at the beginning of this lesson, and you click on the English translation of the word. So for example, the first word you'll see is smell. If you click on it, you'll see common usages, a note about the word, and examples. I highly recommend for this lesson going through them. All right, let's move on to the second part. 하다 and 되다. So 하다 and 되다 are the active and passive versions of each other. So 하다 is to do, like we learned, and 되다 is to be done. Time for an example. Let's say I just finished binge watching all the How to Study Korean lesson recap videos, and I'm in the mood to play a good old game of, let's say, Rocket League with my brother. I launch the game, but it starts to update and it's taking forever to load. I tell my brother, hey, can you let me know when it's done loading? And I go to ravage the kitchen. When the game finally finishes loading, he yells out, 됐어, which means it's done. Here, if I had said 했어, if he had said 했어, I would have said, what did you do? I hope this example shows like it happened versus, or like it was done versus I did it. I personally try to create these kind of stories for words or grammar that I find very difficult, so that in case when I'm thinking of using them or I hear them and I'm confused or I forget, I just replay that story in my head and that brings me clarity. Alright, on to the next part. 하다 and 봤다. We literally just said 하다 and 되다 are the passive and active version, and now I'm saying 봤다 can also be the passive form of 하다. Kinda. Most of the time it's 되다, but some verbs just end up preferring to use 봤다 instead. So a common example is with love. So you can love or you can be loved. So for example, 그 사람은 사랑 많이 받아요. That person is very loved. He's not the one doing the love. He's receiving it. So in this case, 받다 is used instead of 되다. Alright, one last part, but it'll be fast, so don't worry. Some verbs don't have a passive version. And if you want to make it passive, you take the verb stem and you add a or 어지다. So quick example, 그 집은 한국에서 지어졌어요. The house was built in Korea. I'm not the one that did the building. Maybe I did, but that's not what I'm saying in this sentence. It's in the passive voice. Okay, that's it for this lesson. I know there was a lot to take in, and I didn't properly cover everything in the lesson. There's a lot more that the lesson covers, so I definitely want you to check out the lesson. But if I covered everything, the video would be way too long. This is a recap video, so probably don't want it to be going for too long. I've also linked in the description 2 different Korean sign explanation videos that deal with the passive voice. So go ahead, take a look. There's a lot of details in those explanations. Let me know what you thought of this lesson. I don't usually do lesson recaps this way, but I felt that this would bring the most value. I was in your shoes. I still am in your shoes. So I know all the possible things that can be confusing, and I really wanted to clarify this thing for you guys. All right, see you guys next time.